On this episode of the Hanford Insider, we get a preview of the 26th season of the Main Street Hanford Thursday Night Marketplace with Jim Castleman. Rob will give you a look at some of this week's community events, and I'll be back with your sports report. This is the Hanford Insider for Monday, April 27th.
Welcome to the Hanford Insider, where community meets conversation. We spotlight the people, events, and ideas moving Hanford forward, sharing the positive stories that define our community one story at a time. I'm your host, Rob Bentley. So let's get started. In community news this week, the Hanford City Council met last Tuesday, and we should be hearing from one of the council members soon with a wrap-up. Once it's posted, I'll repost it here on the Insider. You can always go to the Hanford City website at hanford.city and watch the video of the meetings too. The Hanford Sentinel confirmed in an article this week that several restaurants will be opening in Hanford soon. Ono Hawaiian Barbecue is slated to open next to Denny's. Robertito's Mexican Restaurant will be opening near 11th and Cadillac Lane. And we've all heard about the Olive Garden across Mall Drive from Chili's, but they'll also be building a Chick-fil-A there as well. The site plan calls for another tenant, but that's not been announced yet. The developer says that if all things go right, those restaurants should be open in about a year. Now, what about that steakhouse, Hanford? What do you think? Now, let's take a look at this week's community calendar. On Tuesday, April 28th, Hanford City Council member Lou Martinez and Police Chief Stephanie Huddleston will be holding the monthly Council Connect event at the Longfield Center beginning at 5:30 p.m. The Hanford Cycle Swap will be this Friday, May 1st, and Saturday, May 2nd at the King's Fairgrounds. The Little Brick Theater is holding an open mic night on Friday, May 1st. For more information, visit hanfordmtc.com. Saturday, May 2nd is Comic Book Day at DJ's Collectibles and at the Kings County Library Temporary Hanford Branch. On Saturday, there will also be two Mother's Day vendor fairs, one at the Hanford Mall and one at the Hanford Fraternal Hall. In the evening on Saturday, downtown Hanford will be buzzing. The annual Cinco de Mayo Festival will be on 7th Street between Dowdy and Irwin, and the high school prom is at the Hanford Civic Auditorium. On Sunday, May 3rd, the King's Arts Center will be holding their Taco Fiesta. Looking a little farther into May, the Carnegie Museum of Kings County is holding a special author event with Sarah Vladeck, author of The Dangerous Shore, on Wednesday, May 6th. For more information and to RSVP, visit carnegiemuseumofkingscounty.org. Comedian Tim Hawkins will be performing at the Hanford Fox Theater on Friday, May 8th. Visit foxhanford.com for information and tickets. The Carnegie Car Show is coming up on June 6th. Early bird registration for entries is this Friday, May 1st. The food vendor spaces are all taken, but there's plenty of vendor space still available at the festival in the Civic Auditorium Park. Visit carnegiecarshow.com for information and registration. If you have an event coming up, large or small, and you'd like some help getting the word out, let's work together. Send your information to hanfordinsider@gmail.com. Be sure to subscribe to my weekly newsletter to get a complete calendar of events. It's the most comprehensive community calendar available. It's the end of April, beginning of May, and we know what time it is. It's time for the Thursday Night Marketplace, and I'm so happy to have back on the show Jim Castleman, who is the host of Thursday Night Marketplace. Jim, have you been the host for all 26 years?
I have, Rob. It's hard to believe sometimes when I stop and think about it, but the year 2000, Craig Chardon became the original director and asked me to get involved, and that's when it all started for me. 2000, he convinced me to do that, and I've been doing it ever since.
That's great.
I went from volunteer to board member to president of the board and I'm currently on the board as well now, but as one of the executive committee.
We've got a full schedule of events planned for all the way from May 7th until October 29th. And we'll get into some of the details of the Thursday Night Marketplace and kind of what to look for this year. But I thought maybe just a little bit of what the marketplace means to you and what it means to the community, because I know it's really big on your plate.
Well, it personifies community. It's so important to me. I think Craig Sharton did it best when he first came to work here. He convinced me that why should we have to go out of town to celebrate things and have community and have a good time and spend our money when we could do it right here in Hanford in this beautiful downtown. And so once he convinced me of that, I was like ready to flee. And once I got involved, the light came on. I said, you know what? He's right. We need to do it right here where we live. We don't need to have to run to San Luis Obispo or wherever you might run, Long Beach or wherever, San Francisco, wherever. You could have a good time right here. Plus, it would benefit the whole community and be something that the whole community could be proud of. And I think that kind of says it for me. Is it's so important to our town. I think now when I look at it, if there wasn't Main Street Hanford and all the events that we do downtown, there would be just a lot of dark hole in what happens in this community. I mean, there are events, but there's not as many as 30. You take the 34 events that Main Street Hanford does away from Hanford, there's going to be a lot of downtime. And so I just think it's important. I think as we grow, I think we've been important for a lot of brick and mortar that's happened in downtown Hanford, that businesses have been attracted here because they can see the energy that's downtown. So that's it in a nutshell for me.
And it's not just for us here in Hanford. And I want to share this story with you. And I think we've probably talked about this before, but when and over the past 2 years or so, I've had a booth at the marketplace and promoting the podcast and getting the word out there. But one of the things I found out is I would go up to people and say, hey, are you from Hanford? I'd like to talk to you about this podcast. And we have people that come from all over the valley to this thing. It's not just Hanford people. Yeah,
it's become a magnet for the whole Central Valley, from Madera to Porterville to Three Rivers to Coalinga. We've got it mapped on a program that we have. We can see where all these people are coming from. But yeah, all the bands that come out of town, and I've been really involved with the bands over the years, but all the bands that come out of town, they all say, we wish we could do something like this in our town. And they bring people from Reedley and Selma and Tulare and Visalia and Fresno. They're all here in Hanford mixing with our community. So which really shines a light on our community, the health of our community, and hopefully as we grow, that will grow with it. You know, I mean, things are happening right now that are huge in and around Hanford, California, and as we grow. I can go, you just saw some of the articles and some of the new restaurants that are going to show up, and some things like that start happening. It just it gains momentum, and it just becomes like a steamroller. That's the hopes.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I meet people every market. I meet people from out of town somewhere. We came from Tulare. These are people who are visiting us from Modesto. We brought them from, we're here from Fowler, and we're here from Selma, and it's like all out there in the park. It's pretty amazing.
So this all begins on Thursday, May 7th at 5:30, and the marketplace runs from May 7th all the way to October 29th from 5:30 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Yep.
And we've got a lot of special events that are happening this year, some new things, some treasured things that we're bringing back. Give us a rundown of the entertainment schedule and maybe some of the special theme nights.
Yeah, the entertainment special is really huge this year. We're bringing some some different bands, some different theme nights. There's lots of stuff going on. We're bringing back the first flyover that we've been able to have since COVID. We did not think we were going to be able to have a flyover with the situation in the Middle East right now, but we just got it approved. So on June 11th, on Navy Appreciation Night, we'll have John Pemberton and the Shotgun Riders, a really good country band, and they're going to be doing a flyover from the base. So opening night is always big. August is here. They've been a traditional opening band for probably, I would say, 15 years. That's a big night. And we just have all kinds of firefighter appreciations. Local history night's going to be a big night here in town. We've got a K-Jug Country concert. K-Jug used to do a country concert on an opposite night than the market, and it would be on like a Wednesday or something. Well, this year, K-Jug Country Night is going to be at the market, and we'll have some up-and-coming artists that K-Jug will bring into town, and we'll have the K-Jug Country Night at Thursday Night Marketplace. Halloween night's always huge. We do a trick-or-treat for the kids, and Max Headroom is in town, and they're in full costume, and it's a fun night to see everybody in costume and dancing around and eating, and it's just a good night. And so there's a lot going on. I mean, I could go down through the whole list, but there's 27 nights of Mom's Night Out, Small Business Appreciation, Local History Night, Dairy Appreciation Night, Happy Independence Day, Firefighters Appreciation Night, National Ice Cream Week, Picnic in the Park, K-Jug Country Concert, Farmers Appreciation, Food Truck Appreciation, Volunteer Appreciation Night, Paint Downtown Pink, Health and Wellness Night. So there's all kinds of themes. So it's a lot of fun, and I believe that it's posted on our website now. So you can go to our website, go to Thursday Night Marketplace, and you'll scroll down. You can see Thursday Night Marketplace calendar, and that'll open up, and you can see which bands are going to be which nights. We've got some reggae coming. We've got some country coming. We got the classic rock coming. We've got a few more local bands coming this year. So I'm excited about all of that. It's a little something for everybody.
You can get the schedule on their website at mainstreethanford.com. And as Jim said, you can go to the Main Street Hanford page and click on Thursday Night Marketplace, and you can get the list of events that are happening. I know Jim talked through it real fast. He's really excited about getting started on this. But it lists, I'd like to highlight one of them, just a selfish plug here. On June 4th, Local History Night. As many of you know, I'm very involved in local history, president of the Carnegie Museum of Kings County, and we're helping with the Local History Night. And on June 4th, we'll have a booth set up with some of the exhibits that we have currently in our building, Kings County exhibit, and looking forward to the car show, which will be the Saturday after that, which Main Street Hanford is also a co-sponsor of that event. And we'll have brochures for our historic Hanford walking tour. The museum's been sponsoring this for about a year, and there'll be some docents there willing to help you learn more about the history of Hanford and learn more about your local history.
Just one thing, Rob, right there. As a resident here, I came through Everybody's Irish, which is a beer tasting event in downtown Hanford, and the Carnegie participated. So I came through and visited the Carnegie. And if you haven't, come and check that display out. Building Kings County, it is amazing. It's done very, very well, and it's just a treasure of information about how Hanford was formed and how some of the other cities were formed in Kings County and their history. It's amazing. So it's well worth the price of admission. I've been here myself, and I've convinced probably 30 other people to come to it because it's done so very, very well. So they're doing a great job.
Well, thank you. We get visitors from Amtrak. Now that the CART station is here, we get a lot of foot traffic. So, yeah, it's picking up. All right, let's go back to the Marketplace.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
Marketplace, I did some research, and I found out that there were over 260 applications for vendor space. That park is maxed out. You don't have any more room.
We have no more room. We essentially have no more room. It's become a very, very popular spot for vendors to try to get into. You know, we have I think we have 17 food vendors this year. We've got 15 farmers, plus all the other informational and crafts and those kind of vendors. I think there's 127 vendors actually squished into the park. And so we have really nowhere else to go. You know, in the early days, we were on Irwin Street. which was nice at the time, but it was so, you have to think of it at 105 degrees and you're setting up a vendor spot at 3:30 in the afternoon on the asphalt. It was brutal. And so we moved into the park, kind of takes that down a little bit. It's probably 6 or 7 degrees cooler in the park, but it's packed. Yeah, it was amazing to see the stack of applications this year. It was truly amazing.
I remember over the last couple of years trying to find a parking space around here. It's crazy, but there are city parking lots that you can park in that aren't that far away. You may not be able to park right next to the courthouse, but there are parking lots to the east, the west, the south, the north. If you can find a way to get there, you need to be at the marketplace.
It's an age-old conversation in Hanford that we've got a parking problem, but it's actually a parking and walking problem. If you're willing to park a block away or a block and a half away, it's easy to walk through. And that's another good thing about the market that a lot of people don't realize. If you're getting all these people from out of town and they're having to park a couple blocks away and they're walking past your business and they're walking around through town, they're seeing that, oh, hey, I didn't know that this was here. Or I didn't know they had that restaurant. Or, hey, there's a clothing shop over here. So it shines a light on the whole, like a four block area right in the middle of downtown.
So let's talk about that impact on the downtown businesses. Some have extended hours. Some are doing specials and stuff. How has that impacted the stores in the area?
I think it's totally impacted the stores here. I think I just alluded to it. You're getting people from out of town, and whether you want to believe it or not, Hanford is still a magnet for shopping in the area, from the base to Lemoore to Fowler to Selma. People come to Hanford because there's a lot of people that don't want to go into Visalia or go into Fresno to shop. They end up coming to Hanford because we have all of those amenities around us. And so the small business guys that are downtown can, if they do adjust their hours a little bit and get involved a little bit, it's going to affect their business greatly. And I think, because of that, we've got things like Off the Vine that is open downtown, and everybody's just heard that Poor Richard's is coming back to town and taking over the Hop Forge building, going to sell Hop Forge beer. There's things, Barrel House has bought the courthouse, which is huge. And I don't know if people realize how huge that is, but those guys and that business is a magnet for other business. And so there's a lot of excitement building in downtown, for sure.
Yeah, we had Esteemed Land on the show a couple months ago, and Kevin shared with us the plans for the courthouse. And boy, that's going to be amazing. I'm glad that we're still able to use the stage because that technically belongs to them now.
It does, yeah. And I hadn't mentioned Superior Dairy starting construction and going to be back, as a sit-down restaurant. And the Zoneveld shared photos with me the other day, and I was just amazed at it's going to be beautiful inside. It's going to be, it's already got a name for itself. It's already got the history, but they are going to make it, it's amazing what it's going to look like. And it's still going to have the same feel as Superior, but it's just going to be upscaled,
Well, Jim's still in my thunder. I actually had them scheduled for an interview here in a couple of weeks. We had a sit down with them a few weeks ago talking about the plans, and then they wanted to get through some of the demolition work before we were able to actually sit down and talk details of what they're planning on doing. And I'm excited to include them in actually the next exhibit at the Carnegie Museum. We're actually going to have items from Macaño's Bakery and Superior Dairy, and probably a couple of other businesses that people want to know more about. So that opens in July and it'll go through to December. So, Jim, this marketplace, it means so much to the community. It means so much to you, and people appreciate you when you kind of inform the community what's going on during the breaks in between the bands. We certainly don't suffer from a lack of information at those marketplaces. And I would imagine some of those downtown speakers are going to help get the word out, not only music, but announcements and such as well. Yeah.
Yeah, we're really proud of that. Main Street was able to purchase that with an outfit out of Fresno that's done music in downtown other areas. And we've talked about that for probably 6-8 years at Main Street about doing that. And we were able to kick that off this year. That's like a huge project. It was a huge project, and we did it like right out of the chute this year. And so we're really proud about that. I mean, if you walk around down here at all now, you hear the music playing from about the central part of the park to 7th Street, Doughty, and Irwin. Anywhere you walk in that area, you'll hear the music, and the hopes are that that as the city, they have a grant that's coming on board here pretty quick, and I hope that they will help us expand that out and maybe cover even a bigger area with the music. But it's beautiful right now. You come down here on a Sunday morning when there's nobody roaming around and take a walk and listen to the music. It's an amazing thing.
Or on a Wednesday afternoon, we were just setting up and I could totally hear the music, and it just gives you that vibe of stuff is happening.
It's another proud thing that you can grab onto as a community and gives you an idea that, hey, there's something going on in downtown. Exactly.
All right. So once again, the Thursday Night Marketplace kicks off on Thursday, May 7th at 5:30 p.m. at the Civic Park. And Jim, as always, we love hearing your previews of the marketplace, and we look forward to seeing you on May 7th.
Remember, circle it on your calendar. June 11th is going to be that flyover by the Lemoore Naval Air Station jet. So that's going to be something special. Again, the local history night is going to be huge, and the K-Jug Country Concert, August the 20th, is going to be at the Thursday Night Marketplace, so that'll be a huge night. People come from all over for those K-Jug Country concerts, so we're looking forward to that too.
All right. Well, thanks
for having me.
All right. We'll see you next time.
And now it's time for Hanford Insider Sports with Eric Bentley.
We'll start with baseball, where the first-place Sierra Pacific baseball team continued their winning ways, taking down Washington Union in both games of the series last week. Monday's game featured a steady dose of Golden Bears offense, backed up by a complete game shutout from junior Breck Mercado, allowing only 2 hits, striking out 10 in the 7-0 win. In Thursday's game at Sierra Pacific, the Golden Bears offense picked up right where it left off, highlighted by a 3-hit day from Bryce Costa in the 4-0 win. The Golden Bears continue to keep pace with Kingsburg in league play, with both teams now at 8-2 on the year in Tri-County Kings League action. Sierra Pacific will have a pair of non-league games this week against Hanford West, before taking on Kerman next week to close out league play and the regular season. The Hanford High baseball team split their pair of league games with Lemoore last week, as the Bullpups sit at 3rd place in the WIL with a 6-3 league mark. Wednesday's win was propelled by a stellar showing from senior Cole Laskanik, who knocked in a pair of runs at the plate and came in as a pitcher to record the final 2 outs and close out the 7-2 win. Friday's game in Hanford came down to the wire, tied at 3 after 6 innings. The Tigers attacked for 3 runs in the top of the 7th, putting all the pressure on the Bullpups, and despite scoring 2 runs, the Hanford High comeback fell short, 7-6 the final score. The Bullpups enter the home stretch of WIL action with 5 games against 5 WIL teams, starting this week at Dinuba and home versus Tulare Union. And the Hanford West baseball team faced off against league-leading Selma twice last week, with both games going in Selma's favor, as the Huskies fall to 9-13 overall, 3-7 in league play, with a pair of non-league games with Sierra Pacific on the schedule this week. We'll stick with Hanford West, but over to softball, where the Huskies softball team went 2-0 last week, picking up wins over Sierra Pacific and Emmanuel. The 11-1 run rule victory over Sierra Pacific featured 5 different Huskies picking up multiple hits, while Erica Hernandez led the way with 4 runs batted in. In Thursday's league game against Emmanuel, a 5-run 7th gave the Huskies the cushion they needed en route to the 7-2 win. Hanford West now sits at 3-2 in league play, 2 games behind Kingsburg, with 4 games remaining in the season, starting this week at Selma and home versus Kerman. The Hanford High softball team fell in both of their games last week, starting in heartbreaking fashion on Wednesday, where, tied at 5 in the bottom of the 7th, Mission Oak was able to plate the winning run and walk off the Bullpups by a final of 6-5. Friday's home game with Lemoore saw the Tigers attack early, with the Bullpups unable to answer in the 9-1 loss. Dinuba and Tulare Union are on the schedule this week for Hanford High. As for Sierra Pacific softball, after the loss to Hanford West early in the week, the Golden Bears were overcome by league foe Exeter 10-5. 2 games back of league-leading Reedley, Sierra Pacific will look to gain some ground in the league standings this week with games versus CVC and Washington Union. As always, if you have a score report or a team update for any team in any sport at any level, you can let us know by emailing hanfordinsider@gmail.com. I'm Eric Bentley, and this has been your Hanford Insider Sports Report.
And that wraps things up for this week's show. If you're enjoying the podcast and want to support it, you can head over to buymeacoffee.com/Hanford Insider to make a donation, or you can Venmo me directly. Stay connected. Join the Hanford Insider email list at hanfordinsider.com. You'll get weekly updates plus an exclusive newsletter delivered right to your inbox. I'd also really appreciate your help spreading the word about the show by liking and sharing on social media or just telling a friend. You can follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, and YouTube at Hanford Insider for more content and updates. If you've got a show idea, send me an email at hanfordinsider@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening to the Hanford Insider Podcast. Have a great week.